Good morning, and good morning. I tell you, I always say I tell you, and it's true. I don't know. I felt fine, and I had gotten a call from my doctor, and I'm fine. I'm thinking everything is cool, but I couldn't answer the phone because it was on silent. I was at a meeting, so when I looked, it was too late to contact her that day. So I'm up all of the night before last, just all night. Could not sleep, worrying about what maybe it went back and they found something. Well, as it was, when I finally got a hold of her yesterday, she called me. She said, "Oh, I just needed to make sure that you had some other little medicine that you needed. No big deal." Okay. When they leave those messages, all you're thinking about is, okay, do I need to call in the family? Do I need to plan this, plan that? And I said, "Oh Lord." Sometimes we never realize that we can be kind of, turned into, a little anxiety or stress just how our messages are left. Good morning, Erica. How you doing, my friend? I'm having my wonderful cup of coffee in this stylish cup. Let me see if I can show the front. In my stylish cup that somebody gave me. I just absolutely love it. Actually, Gloria gave it to me a couple of years ago, and it's one of my special cups that I bring out every now and then when I need some more confidence of everything is still all right, regardless of what happens. It's still going to be all right. So this morning I wanted to go back a little bit, and I had done this word years and years ago. I want to say I did it like maybe the first year I started doing live, which has been over 3 years now. And the word is lot, and so we sometimes need to ask ourselves, what is our own lot? I'm doing well. I love that coffee. Thank you. Thank you. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. But I bought another one yesterday from my Rotary Club, which I also love. But anyway, the when we talk about lot, I had was working with an agency in town with Dr. Rankin's group, of re-entering people who are convicted felons. And so I had designed a curriculum just for his um, clients. So we made it, and I just put it all together. And he said, "Well, what you going to call it, Dr. Winborn?" I said, "We're going to call it Launching Opportunities in Transition." Well, that's the name I gave it. And I went to sleep that night after giving that name. And I woke up, bolted up in the bed. I said, Lot, Lot. Lot is in the Bible. I said, and Lot was when there was a realization that where they were, which was in Sodom and Gomorrah, which was considered to be a city of basic sin, that Lot had to move. He had to move on. So Lot became known as this individual who had to make movement to find new a new area to live in. And we think about what they call the land that we live on. We live on our own lots if we're fortunate enough to be in that position. Some of us do, some of us do not. Some of us live on we make other people rich because we pay their lot fees. But the lot is what we've been given in terms of where we might be living in the house or houses that might be built on that land. And so I found the poem. Good morning, Joan. How are you doing, my friend? How are you? How are you? And it says, The Lot in Sodom. This is by John Newton. And it says, "How hurtful was the choice of Lot, who took up his abode because it was a fruitful spot, with them who feared not God. A prisoner he was quickly made, bereaved of all his store. And but for Abraham's timely aid, he had to return no more. Yet still he seemed resolved to stay, and if it were his rest, although their sins from day to day, his righteous soul distressed. A while he stayed with anxious mind, exposed to scorn and strife. At last he left his all behind and fled to save his life." They thought he told his dreams. He thought he told his dreams. His daughters, two of them, had learned and perished in the flames. His wife escaped a little way, but died for looking back. Does not her case to pilgrims say, beware of growing slack? It says, yea, Lot himself could lingering stand, though vengeance was in view. 'Twas mercy plucked him by the hand, or he had perished too. The doom of Sodom will for be ours, if the earth we cleave. Lord, quicken all our drowsy poor powers to flee to thee and live. And so this poem to me, it said a lot. It said something about how we're given stuff and we don't know how long we're going to be given where we live. Good morning, Calithia. How are you? We don't know how long we're going to be able to either live in this life or live on the land or in the house or houses that we were given, and so it just said to me, like, we have to do this again. And I looked at Maui, if that could be Florida, that could be New York, could be California, it could be anywhere in the world. When disaster hits, how prepared are we to move on and not look back? So getting back to the program that I started with Dr. Rankin's, the reentry program for felons, it just told me why, I don't know why God gave me that word, but he gave it to me. And I said, Lot, sometimes we cannot look back. Sometimes we have to say we were given what we were given. We had to go through what we had to go through. We're on the other side of it. Don't go back into it. Do not. So I said this morning, I found a word. It's Lot. And it says Lot. And, in the Bible it explains, it says Lot, was a nephew of Abraham who, according to the account of Genesis, escaped from the doomed city of Sodom with his wife, who turned into a pillar of salt. And, she turned because she looked back. That's why it says sometimes we cannot look back. Good morning. Good morning, Triple L's. How are you? Love you, girl. And it says, so when we look at the word Lot, not only is it telling us not to necessarily look back, but appreciate what we have. We don't know how long we're going to have it, but appreciate it. And it says, your piece of land may be your piece of land temporarily. Okay. Now, those of us like myself, I am a Christian, so I believe that this is a temporary piece of land that I have. But my real home is up in the sky. That's my belief. I don't push that on everybody, but it's mine. It says, great and love you more. Oh, thank you, sweet pea. So I look at just the lot of what is Lot. So Lot says, Lot is our fate. Think about it. It's our fate. What we may or may not have, what may happen to us or may not happen to us. Fate. Okay. And a lot of times people say it's luck. I don't really use luck anymore. I used to use luck all the time. Now I say I'm blessed. If I would made it through something catastrophic like a hurricane, or I go to the doctor and they give me a good report, that's not luck. That's because I'm blessed. That's me. Somebody else, as I said, they may use the word luck. Go ahead. It says a lot is also our destiny. Where we stand, where we live, where we lay down at night, it's our destiny. Thank you, Triple L says blessed, absolutely. So when we go forward, it says it's inevitable and usually an adverse outcome. Sometimes when we consider ourselves to be above what could happen to us. I always think I have to say that I'm blessed. I have to say that I've been given something that sometimes I didn't even deserve, which gives me my surprise, but it also gives me my grounding. I know not to get over who I am. Even when I've been given something that's just so great in terms of accomplishment or whatever, it never makes me want to be above the level of just humanness that I am at. I don't want to act like I'm above, the person who gave it to me. He up there. Okay. Even the people here, yes, you thank them. Okay. But then you give praise to him. That's for me. That's for me. So anyway, the launching opportunities in transition is how I based Are You Stuck? So when I ask you, are you stuck? That's what I'm asking you right now. Are you stuck on anything like now? Are you stuck on where you're living? Are you stuck on what you already have and what you've accomplished? Those things are your lot. Okay. Now, if you decide that it's not enough, you can pray for more if you want to. You can ask for more if you want to, but be appreciative of what you already have. Absolutely. So when we launch, for me, my L, and I'm going to ask you, are you stuck again in a minute? It says, if you were to put something down for an L, for my L of lot, the first letter, I put launch. Because to me, anytime I'm given something to start out on, that's my launch. Even when I found this house that I live in, and I've been in this house for years and years, it was a foreclosed house, and we didn't know it at the time, but the people that lived in it, they were different. They were different in the respect that they didn't know, because it was it was in process of foreclosing. They didn't know the color of my husband's and my skin. They didn't know it. They didn't know it. But when they came by, we asked through our, attendant that was carrying out our processing, our realtor, could we come in and start painting and just start clearing out stuff and all that, because it was vacant. And she went through their realtor, and they said yes. However, they drove by the house the day we were there, the day we were here actually, and painting. And they said, get them out immediately. We don't want them in the house until it's absolutely sold. We don't want to meet them at the table. We don't want them at the house. Nothing. So, there was a bit of sadness that came with that, because we were launching ourselves out there to claim what had been given to us, and very excited. And that interrupted that launch. It interrupted it to a point that made it kind of weird to us. I said, well, but from New York, we never experienced that. We didn't know anything about it. We didn't understand the significance of what they were feeling towards us. We didn't know them, hadn't seen them, had never met them. So when it came time for the closing, they refused to come to the table to the closing with us. We had to do our closing, and then they came in and closed. So sometimes you never know how your launch may be. You're here, you are happy to go get your lot, which you have been given, and you realize that someone has basically closed off the communication, closed the door, closed anything that makes it an exciting period for you. It is what it is. Loved, lucrative, yes, both of those are very, very good. So anyway, the launching for me says it was set in motion. It was set in motion that I was going to work on this. My eye is, excuse me. I was going to work on this this new house to us. It wasn't a new house, So we're going to change it over and make it something that made us comfortable, made us feel at peace, and feeling, what I would say, excited about the lot that we were given. So anyway, Lot talks about, just the whole fact that when something has been put in motion for you, it has been launched. So it was already launched for us. It was set in motion. It was our start. It was the activity that it surrounded, not just our hearts, but our heads, and how we were going to do things, how we're going to put this together and that together. We weren't sure. It says lot is also when something has been instigated. Basically, it's been set up. It might be an institute that we're looking at. And maybe something that interesting is to bring out something, open it up, establish it. We were establishing it from what they had to what we wanted it to be. That's what you do when you get a new anything that could be considered, even a new apartment, a new house, a new condo, townhouse. All of those things are your new. That's your launch when you go out there and you start working on it. So it says it's also something that's basically you're going to originate it from what you want it to be. What someone else had it as, that's totally different. But your origination of how you want it, how you want this set and that set, and the curtains and the colors and the positioning in the house, all of those kinds of things. So it says it's also a pioneer period. You're basically setting out to change some things. It says it's when you're activated, you masterminding the overhaul of something that was. It says it's your start point and it's your kickoff. So for me, when I just think about, I can look back and think of how this house originally looked and how I've changed it over the years. I'm excited about the changes that I made. They became my changes. So once I pass on, or the house goes to someone else, in terms of me selling or whatever, I can imagine that someone else will come in and change some of the things that I have done with it. But it will be their lot. It will be housed on the lot that it currently is. And maybe they'll come in and say, hey, we're going to, basically mow it down to the ground and start all over, because the land, y'all hear me out. Sometimes the land, which is the lot, is more valuable than the house that stands on it. Haven't you seen that? You go different places, and a person with an eye beyond what currently they see the future of how the place will look in the event that they take it down to the ground, what's currently there. Isn't that us? Sometimes we can go in and basically, assess a situation and say, you know what, this is how it could be done. This is how we can make it work. And those who are honest and into what they understand they can do, they would do it. They will do it. They don't need any other help. It's been given to them. Because I believe that sometimes we are given information on how to do things. It becomes something that's a known. We just know how to do it, and we do it. When I move on, my O for in my word lot talks about outlive. The lot, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. The people that are so rich and they got the mansions and they have the 40 acres, no mule, and they have all of this stuff out there, everything, okay? The land, the lot will outlive them, period. It will, no matter who we are. The land will be here when we're gone. And even it says, like some of the songs that have been made up about people who pass on, it says kings and queens will all pass away, okay? But what is to remain will remain. That's us. That's us. We will pass on. And then our children or our offspring or somebody totally new will be able to access what we have. It will become theirs, and they'll change it the way they want to. Observant, yes. Opportunity, what you say? Ordeal, yes. All of those. All of it. We will go through an ordeal. We must be observant about what we have and how we place it into its future, because some people have nice things, but they never worry about, in the event of my demise, who shall get? I think one of the quickest ways to start fights in families is not to leave a plan, and some of the best made plans, even if you made those plans years and years ago, it says you have to go back and redo those plans. And I can tell you right now, I did mine, but after each of my family members has passed on, I need to redo them again. Once again, my brother passing last year. So sometimes we just have to realize that we have to regroup. We have to regroup on the lot that we have and how we want to safeguard it or look at how it outlives us. And outlive does not mean in the physical wellness. It's just the fact that it is a tangible. You can sit on it. You can lay down in it. You can walk in it. You can, run around outside on it. But it's yours. It is yours. And once you leave, who else will get it? Who else will get it? And a lot of times banks get stuff like this. They love a lot, especially if it's not paid for. If they're paid for, then it becomes one of probate. It goes to probate, and then the probate period, and then it's so expensive. The family chews up all their money trying to get what was theirs in the first place, but because of the legal system of having eyes, ears, hands, and signatures, it missed its mark. And so there's a lot of people who have become rich. A lot of organizations, a lot of governments, state, federal, city. Only because, and municipalities, they've all become rich because people didn't pay enough attention to the lot that they had. I'm telling you, pay attention to the lot that you had. Okay? Make sure that you know what it is. So the outlive is to live longer than a certain thing. In this instance, it would be the land will outlive you, meaning it will be here beyond your demise. Okay, and it says it could be a person, a period, or anything else. And it says it will continue to exist. It will endure. Okay, you look, and that's not going to say that the wind won't try to knock it down and knock down trees, and the power lines won't try to burn it up. All those kinds of things. It will be still, in the midst of the element of its elements, but nonetheless, okay, who takes care of it? Who is to say they own it? And then, and then the owning is only temporary. That it's a temporary own. It is a temporary own. So the outliving also talks about the prevailing of something, the remaining of something, and the hanging on. Some families can say that they hung on to stuff for years. Like they can say passed down from my great grandfather, great 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 grandma. They can find the lineage and have the connection. Others cannot. And it might be the records that were kept or how things were really looked at. And my T, excuse me, see, the devil's trying to be smart. I don't know what happened because I felt good all last week. And then 2 days ago, just before I got the call from the doctor, all of a sudden I started having some nasal sinus stuff going on. So I don't know. I feel fine. I just sound funny. So y'all bear with me this morning. But my T is transition. Whenever we're looking at our lot, we have to prepare for its transition. Its transition could be its appearance, could be the painting. It could be, that's the exterior. Inside, it may be painting and moving walls and tearing out things and, rearranging furniture. All those are transitions. Okay. But then there's also our transition when we leave this and go someplace else, either to, nursing homes or go to live with other family members or whatever it is that happens, whatever that happens to us physically, who will take the home over. Now I've had some, friends who refuse to let their parents go anywhere else but to stay in their homes, even as they got more and more sick. And what happened is that many of the parents stayed longer because they were familiar with what was around them. They were familiar. I can honestly say from my mother, even though she told me to do it, that I mourned for my mother before she ever left the world. So when she actually left the world, I was better. I was okay. I didn't cry as many tears. I cried for my mother because my mother loved her independence and loved her home. Well, she'd had an apartment in a senior citizen's place, and she had been in that place, like I think they said 26 and a half years. So she had been there a long time, knew everybody, sat by the door like it was hers. She acted like she was on duty all day, like the attendant, And if you came to the door and you didn't have a key, she didn't let you in. She said, "Oh, use your key. You don't have a key, can't get in." But I mean, my mom, you're right there. She said, "Nope, that's the rules." So it made me laugh just to knowing that she even acted like that was her territory. So when she had to make that transition from that place to a nursing home, she was in the nursing home maybe 3 weeks. That was it. She couldn't handle it. She was done. She was done. And she hadn't been talking and called to tell me that she was done. So sometimes we don't even know how our transitions will occur, but we know that we will make a transition. We will. Transitioning from where we're living to where we go to live with someone else or in nursing facilities. And then ultimately we will make the final transition, and hopefully for me it will be up. Okay. But talented, that's really a good word. Yes. Tolerate. Ooh, that. And track. Yes. All those great words. And temperament. Oh, those are all good words. We have to realize that sometimes when we're making our transition, we have to pay attention to, how we're going through. What's our temperament about it? But I think if we make peace with stuff early, we don't have to make peace with it again. If we say to ourselves, this will not be my forever home, it will be my home temporarily. This will not be my forever lot that I live on, but it's my lot right now. Those are the kinds of things it just gives to me. It gives you solaceness. It gives you some peace to say, yeah, this is my current state. It's not my forever state, but it's currently where I'm at, currently what I'm doing, And I thought I'd never leave New York State. And I think I cried more when I left New York State. And then I cried when I left Italy. Yeah, so okay, yeah. So there you go. Even though I knew for sure Italy was not my forever place to live. It's just that I love wherever I'm living, period. No other thing need to be said. What's that? Tranquility, yes. Transparency, yes, to be able to see through stuff. Sometimes we do have to be transparent. It's tough. It's tough for us to be transparent, especially if we think somebody wants something that we have and we feel that they're trying to take something that we have. Sometimes you have to give it up, and just say, hey, look, here's where I'm at. Here's what you need to do in the event of. So transition for me is my word, which talks about movement, passage, or change from one position to another. When I look at my lot, I'm changing from one position to another. I'm going to stay here as long as I can, but when I leave here, there's a transition that has to be made. The house has to be packed out, okay? Everything needs to be the way it is for someone else to move in and certainly purchase the home. So it talks about the stage that someone would go through, the subject that they would address, the concept of just transitioning. It says it goes from understanding your now to your another. What's next? What's next? When one has done all they can just stand. Absolutely. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs. When you've done all you can, just stand. Friends turn their back, just stand. Okay. Money ain't right, just stand. Okay. House gone, just stand. That's good. That's good. That's good. So anyway, when we look at this whole thing of transition, it also talks about going from one thing that's sure to something that's a change of your assurance. You may just realize, man, I don't know where I'm going, but I got to go. I have to go. So the transition is the conversion that we make, the development, the evolution, the growth. Sometimes our growth is more on the other side of currently where we are. We don't even realize it, but it is. It says our passage, our progression. We may feel that we're not doing anything currently where we are, but eventually we get on the other side and find out it's not bad over here. It's not bad. I can handle it. It says we're making a shift in what we're doing, a shift, you know. There might, it says now with transition, there could be upheaval, you know, and upheaval has a tendency to make us kind of, you know, not knowing what we're doing, you know, feeling kind of like, wow, I could have, but here I am. It also talks about the transformation that happens when a transition is gone through. You know, the fact that if you're, to me, every time I've had to leave one place going to another to live, that's been a real upheaval for me. You know, the transition is tough. The passage is tough, which way I'm going and when will my furniture get here. When I left Italy, we thought we'd never get our furniture. And then when we got it, it was damaged. So then you have to go through all the process of what happened, which they never found out. But our furniture had water damage. When we said, well, wait a minute, how could it have water damage? But I guess the ship was leaking. Don't know. Tenacity. Yes, tenacity is a great word, because we do have to sometimes be tenacious when we're dealing with certain things. We do. We have to stay on it. You know, we have to stay on it. So also with transition, there's going to be a flux of some sort, a metamorphosis. It says a transit. You know, that's that furniture coming over. That's you traveling from, say, city X to city Y, okay, or one state to another state, or one country to another country. It's the big thing that talks about our turn. We don't even realize that we turn often, but this would be when you're leaving someplace going to another, and you're leaving the lot that you have going to someone else's lot or a new lot. That's a turn. That's a major turn. And it's a realignment of how you feel. Because sometimes we have so much love for where we are or where we have to leave, then we can even conjure up for where we're going and we'll live. We just don't even realize that. And lastly, it says that transitioning is our turning point. So, you know, today I tried to really look at, you know, the origin of how Are You Stuck Or came about. And it certainly was the fact that it is a lot. Sometimes we have to launch our own opportunities, and we will be in transition, regardless of what we think we should do at the time. It's right at the time. Later on, we may find that we made a mistake, or we made a wrong turn, or you know, sometimes we can't undo the things that we've made. But the thing is that Lot gives us a chance to do it all over again. You know, because we can put out a bid on another house, or we can say, well, you know what, I'm going back to the city that I left because I feel that I have more there in terms of friendships and kindships, love ships. I'm going back. So sometimes we do that. So launching opportunities in transition, we have to launch what we want, you know, where we want to go to in terms of the lot that we hope we will get. We have to realize that it will outlive us. It will. And lastly, we have to realize that there is a transition that we will take in our lives if we ever decide that we're leaving the lot that we're currently on. Listen, I want you all to have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. I'm going to rest a bit. I feel fine, but I sound horrible. But other than that, I'm going to enjoy the lot. And a lot this weekend, just kind of chilling out and doing a few things that have been given to me to do, for me to do. But you all be safe. Be safe. You know, kind of go through the lot that you have and see what you might need to do in order to tweak it to make it more, I would say, leggy for you and something that you can be comfortable with, just in case something happens. We just have to do that. But look, I love you. I love you. I love you. I appreciate you. If there's nothing else you can do, if you don't mind, hit love, like, and share. Okay? Just hit share. Somebody else could see this message and realize the importance of it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Hey, Kiwanis. I love you too. Bye-bye, y'all. Be safe.